Hello students, I am Chirayu Bhatt and we are going to start our English lessons from today onwards. And today we are going to start with the basic of English, and they are tenses. Altogether there are 12 tenses in English, and out of those 12 tenses we use only 7 tenses very frequently in our day-to-day lives. And the first very important tense that we are going to learn today is simple present tense. Why do we use simple present tense and when do we use simple present tense? So simple present tense is used to refer to those activities that are done on the day-to-day basis. Yeah, those activities that are done on the regular basis, on the day-to-day basis, are highlighted, are expressed in simple present tense. Activities such as I go to school every day, or we visit our uncle's house every Sunday, or my family goes to watch a movie every month. Activities which are done on regular basis, they are expressed in simple present tense, and it is one of the most crucial tenses. All tenses are important, but simple present tense is very important. So there are certain words which are called friends of simple present tense. Those words are very frequently used in simple present tense, and those words you need to remember. They are words such as every day, every month, sometimes, often, rarely, every week, every year, so on, so forth, etc. So, how do we construct a sentence in simple present tense? So here is the formula to construct a sentence in simple present tense. You have to have the subject in the beginning to start with, then comes the verb. Now, this part is a bit tricky one in simple present tense. If you are talking about first person singular, you use the main verb. I go. Yeah, this is first person singular and this is plural. So when you are talking about first person singular, you say I go, you just use the main verb. When you are talking about first person plural, which is we, again you use the same main form, we go. When you are talking about second person singular, then you do the same thing, you go. When you are talking about second person plural, you do the same thing, you go. But here is the tricky part to remember. When you are talking about third person singular, in other words, when you are talking about he or she or it, you have to attach either s or es after the verb, behind the verb. Yeah, so he goes, she goes, or it goes. Again, this is the golden rule. If you are talking about third person singular, you have to attach either s or es behind the verb. Again, when you are talking about third person plural, same story again, they go. No changes, yeah? You use the main verb. So, subject, then verb, then object, plus other words, and here you go. This is your formula for simple present tense. Let's have a look at some examples. Examples are, I drink tea every day. I is the subject, drink is the verb, and we have used the main verb. We haven't attached s or es behind the verb. Tea is an object. Every day is a friend of simple present tense, or you can say they are other words. Sue visits her uncle's house every week. So in this sentence, Sue is a subject, visits, yeah? We use visits. Why? Because Sue is third person singular. Sue is she, yeah? So Sue visits her uncle's house every week. Sue in this sentence is subject. Visits is a verb. Her uncle's house, other words, every week is a friend of simple present tense. Let's have a look at the third example. They often watch Hindi movies. In this sentence, they is subject, often is a friend of simple present tense, watch is a verb. Hindi movies, other words. So, there you go. Now, how do you construct questions in simple present tense? Very simple. Questions in simple present tense are constructed either with do or does. So, in the beginning of the questions, you have to put either do or does plus subject plus verb. While making questions in simple present tense, because you are using do or does, you always use main verb, yeah? Even if you are talking about third person singular, doesn't matter. Because do and does, they are modal verbs, yeah? You have to use main verbs with modal verbs. So when you are constructing questions in simple present tense, when you are using do or does, you have to use the main verb. You have to take off the s or es attached behind the verb. And then object plus other words. Now, when will you use do and when will you use does? Come back to this graph here. When you are talking about I, we, you, they, and you want to construct a question, you use do. When you are talking about these three, he, she, it, you have to construct the question with does. Yeah, example. Does it cost much to call Canada? Because we are talking about it. In this sentence, our subject is it. So, we have used does. Yeah? And since does is a modal verb, we have not used s or es behind the verb. In other words, we have taken off the s or es from the verb. Second example. Do people like to keep their house clean? Great. So, why did we use do here? Because people is third person plural. We are talking about they. So, people is the subject in this sentence. So, we have used do. Do people like is a verb. Sorry, I have written like twice. So, like is a verb. Do people like to keep their house clean? Here we go. Again, while making the question for simple present tense, you have to either use do or does. When we are talking about first person singular, first person plural, second person singular, and second person plural, and third person plural, you have to use do. When we are talking about third person singular, we have to use does. Great. If you know how to construct questions in simple present tense, it is very easy to make them negative. You can make negative sentences very easily if you know how to construct questions in simple present tense. To use negatives in simple present tense, the same rule. Use do not or does not. When you are talking about I, we, you, they, use do not. When you are talking about he or she or it, use does not. And since do and does, they both are modal verbs, you have to use the main verb with them. Yeah? So, that was the class, that was the first class of our English. We have started our journey with simple present tense, and in the next video I will be doing some exercise with simple present tense that will make the picture clearer. Yeah, thank you. Thanks for watching the video.